All right, hi everybody. We are having lots of fun with technology today. Freezing computer screens, lack of audio. Thank you for being patient. Hopefully you can hear me now. And if you are still with me, thank you for jumping back on the video. Okay, so Nathan said I'm live and everything's good. So we're gonna get going. If you watched my first video at 2 o'clock now, you'll have the notice that we're going to be doing a draw for those of you who are watching live. I just want to thank you for tuning in, and you know what? The prize just got bigger if you're still on this thread. If you're on the first thread, I'm going to do a draw for those of you who tuned in then. And if you're still on this thread, we're going to do another draw because you guys are awesome and I'm so sorry for the delay. Okay, and then if you are not watching live, you didn't have to put up with my technical difficulties. So we're going to do a draw for those of you who watch this video before Sunday night. Just make sure to comment that you've done so that I know, and I'll do a draw on Monday morning. So thank you for your encouragements. Yes, third time's the charm, everyone, and thanks for your patience. And I'm also going to do a draw for those of you who are feeling crafty and a little bit creative this weekend. So if you've been working on something this past month, or if you're doing something this weekend, I'd love for you to post pictures of your projects in the comments. So in this video, you can feel free to post as many pictures of your projects as you want, and every card that you post, up to like 5, I will give you a draw entry to another prize draw that I'll do on Monday morning. So the draw entry is closed on Sunday night. Okay? So what I want to do today is show you guys a fun fold, and hopefully we won't have any more challenges. I can see your guys' comments beside me, so we're going well. So the suite that I'm going to highlight is called the Snowflake Wishes bundle, and I'm using both the stamp set and the dies for this project. I'm also tying in one of our in colors, the Misty Moonlight. And why I wanted to show you this is Christmas is coming, even though it doesn't look like it today. But I'm also using this bundle at the retreat that I host at the end of October. So this is my 6th annual holiday handmade retreat, and we feature usually 2 bundles, and we make projects with both. So this is one of them. We're also going to be using the poinsettia bundle as well. So lots of you are signed up. We have 23 of us so far, which is amazing. If you still want to join, please check out that event on the page here. It's called Holiday Handmade 6th Annual. And if you can't find it, just send me a note and I'll get you the information. It is all virtual, just because we can't meet with that many of us comfortably yet. So I will have kits all ready for you, and then the whole day is going to be various parts of crafting together. Some time where you can join a Zoom meeting and craft apart from the group if you want to be able to get up and walk around, and lots of fun and games and prizes. So many prizes. If you've done this event before, you will know there's lots of prizes. Okay, so let's get going. So first things first, this is what we are making, if you can see this. So if you are already signed up for that event, just an FYI, this is one of your bonus projects. So for those of you who've attended the event live in the spring, we had some time before we officially started in the morning to do some games and a fun little make and take. This is the project I'm going to send you the pieces for, so you can watch this video again and just put it together as you go. So this is your freebie little sneak peek for that event, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So if you're not coming to the event, you can still do this project. All right, so this project is usually referred to as a cube pop-up box, and there's so many great tutorials out there. So just thank you to YouTube and all the lovely ladies who've put together, and gentlemen actually, there's some great ones from the guys too, put together little tutorials on how to make these cubes go together, and I just tied in the Snowflake Wishes suite. So what you need to start with is a piece of cardstock here. So I'm using Misty Moonlight because I want to. So you need it to measure 8.5 inches by 8 inches. Okay? On your scoreboard, you're going to want the 8.5 inches resting against the top. It's very easy to make this mistake, but you won't have the measurements properly if you do that, okay? So 8.5 inches resting along the top. We're going to put some score lines at 2, 4, 6, and 8. That was nice and easy. And now we're going to do some cutting. Okay? So with your handy little trimmer, you are now turning the page so the 8-inch side is on the top, and that means you've got this little tiny section facing closest to you. So make sure before you cut anything that you have this lined up correctly. So we're going to line it up at the 2-inch mark and cut one strip off. This is going to be one of our little cubes, and we're going to do that once more. Line it up at the 2-inch mark and cut. So now what you're left with are 3 pieces. You should have a 4-inch across the top by 8.5, 2-inch by 8.5, and another 2-inch by 8.5. You could cut these pieces first and score them all separately, but it's actually just a brilliant idea that I saw on one of the tutorials. I kind of mixed and matched from measurements I liked, but to do one sheet and then cut it. Okay, so with your pieces, you're going to start off by grabbing your bone folder and putting lines, score lines, nice and firmly folded for each of these pieces. Okay, so we want that working really well because we're going to fold all of these together. And I like using something hard like a bone folder or a block or something just to make sure those lines are super crisp, because this card is going to get folded and unfolded a lot of times as people put it in envelopes and have it moved onto different parts of their desk. So you want it to just hold its shape really, really well. Okay, so now we're going to take some double-sided tape, and on the inside flap, so your box is kind of folding into itself right now, so on this skinny little inside flap, put a piece of double-sided tape. You can also use our Seal Plus adhesive, would be fantastic. Even our seal is about as strong as the double-sided tape is now. So you can go ahead and put adhesive on those 3 little strips. Okay, now it doesn't matter what order you put them together in. We'll just start with one of our small ones. Take your adhesive off, and then if you fold your card just the first little square over, you'll notice that you can actually lie this piece flat and connect it right here, and that will make sure that your cube is perfectly foldable to put inside a card. Okay, so I'll show you that again. Take off the adhesive, fold over the first little flap, and fold this part down straight on top of it to make your second little cube. Now for our box, this is our larger piece in the back. You can do the exact same. Fold over, rest down. Okay, now when we're assembling the box itself here, this part, this pillar, is our back piece. So we're going to make sure that the attached part here is facing backwards. You could also tuck this inside, you know, put your adhesive on this side and tuck it in. I just found the fold works a little nicer if you have it on the outside. It's uglier, but it is facing backwards, but I just found your fold works a little nicer. So you can play with that yourself, though. That's just why usually we hide things, right? You know, we don't like to have those ugly edges showing through, but that's why I did it. Okay, so these ugly edges, however, are getting hidden, which is fantastic. So you can go ahead, I should have made these longer, but put some tape onto the back of your square, the square piece that has this little lip on it. And then we'll do the same thing for our other one too, just so they're both ready to go. Again, make sure to find this piece with the lip. There we go, lots of adhesive on there. Okay, so now the way that I like to put these onto the box is squish it flat, have your adhesive part facing towards the bottom, okay? Adhesive towards the bottom. And we're going to just line up our rectangle. It'll be the exact same size as this pillar if you do it this way. And then just press it gently. And when you let it go, here's your little flap. Okay, so we'll do the same thing to this side. Fold it, turn it so that you have your adhesive section on the bottom. And then we're going to just rest it gently in this perimeter of the next rectangle. Okay, so here is our fun little boxes. You can kind of fold and move it if it's not sitting to your liking, but there is our boxes. Now we need to decorate it. So as you can see, it was actually very simple to put together this part of your project, and it's very, very simple to do the rest of this. So let me show you what you need. You are going to need 6 cardstock pieces. That's the pool party that I used in the background here. So 6 of these squares, and they are going to measure 1 3/4 inches each. Okay, so you need 6 of those. You need 6 designer series papers that measure the same, 1 3/4 squared. Those are the pieces that I used to decorate this backdrop section in here, okay? And then for the framing pieces, such as this guy here, we are going 1/4 inch smaller for our next designer series paper. So these ones will be 1 1/2 inches squared, okay? So I probably should have done this ahead of time, but I'll do this super fast. We're going to put adhesive onto the back of all of our squares and get them all mounted up and ready to go. It is nice if you're watching a replay to have this time to do the project yourself, okay? So I love double-sided tape. I use it all the time in my projects. So I'm just gonna whip through that here. I want it, my little DSP on the pool party. And I'm just going to have these ready to go beside me when we're ready to assemble. Okay, so do all 6 of these ones first. And feel free to mix and match the project however you like. You could choose a different cardstock for the background. You could put these in random orders around your project. I'm just showing you kind of a clean, symmetrical look, but who knows, maybe you want every single pattern of paper in the set and you're going to use them as you go. I'm intrigued and hopeful that somebody will play with this project because it'll be nice to see what you guys end up doing with it too. But I keep seeing these cards everywhere and I decided it was high time I learned how to do one. Okay. So I've got 3 of them ready. I think I'll go ahead and put them on. So what I did was I put them on the front of my project, basically along this strip here. So 1, 2, these are all of my outside pieces that are showing, and number 3. You could try to figure out, you know, if you made yourself a template, which pieces go on what part of your boxes before you assemble. But to be honest, I thought I would probably make a mistake, so I didn't bother doing that. All right, we'll get the last 3 done here. So another color, just a hint, that goes beautifully with this, this suite is our purple posy. We kind of forget about that one just because of the fun we had actually getting ink and everything, but our paper is still available. And the paper shows up in some of the snowflake patterns in this set, not the ones we're using here, but it's just kind of a subtle background color and it blends beautifully with the misty moonlight and the pool party tones that you see here. So if you're looking for something maybe a little bit more feminine, that would be a great alternative for you to use. Okay. So here we go. We've finished our front of the card, and now a lot of people have just left it with only these pieces. But again, the brilliance of YouTube and combining various people's ideas is that one person I saw put paper on the inside here that actually accented the project a little bit more. So that's what I wanted to do for you guys. So we're going to use those 6 pieces of designer series paper, and I chose a different pattern because I wanted them to stand out. I chose something that was very opposite to what I had used before. This one has kind of a nice blue background and the white snowflakes. So I went with the white background and the dark blue snowflakes for this one. So this is my 1 3/4 inch DSPs. We're not doing a mat for them. However, if you choose to, you certainly could. You could cut either the pool party, just another set of them for yourselves, or you can choose a different color. Maybe you want to tie in that purple posy, or you can also use Seaside Spray. That would be another color that's used quite a bit in this suite, and it blends really, really well with all the colors that we're using here. Okay, so you need 6 of these. We're going to use them just to make our card have a little bit more life and texture. Another idea, if you didn't want to use the DSP, is run your base colors, so the Misty Moonlight, through an embossing folder. Giving some texture will mean that you don't have to do anything else. But we're using paper, so you can do this in any order. We just want these hiding. You have to do a little bit of work here. Sorry, you can't see. There we go. So put it in the bottom of this square here, and we're also going to put one on the backdrop here. So the nice thing about working with squares is it's pretty easy to see where your lines are, and you don't have to measure much. We're going to do the other side too, so make sure to do that bottom section right here. And the back of it as well. And then what I did think was really sharp was putting a piece on the inside of this long base as well at the top, because it kind of, you don't even have to do a whole sheet. We're just cheating and throwing some in the top, because nobody's going to look down this whole thing and say, oh, you didn't use a full sheet. We're saving ourselves some DSP and some time and only putting it in one of the corners. Okay, so there we go. Voila. So you can see we've got some nice colors now showing through for the project, like this. And we need some decorations, of course. Okay, so what we're gonna start with, as you can see, you can fold it numerous ways to put in an envelope. We're gonna start with a little sentiment, okay? So that sentiment I, of course, took out of the Snowflake Wishes. So I cut myself a strip of paper that is, how long? It is 3/4 inch wide by 3.5 inches long, okay? So I just kind of grabbed the stamp and a strip of paper that was slightly longer than it. Some of our sentiments, you could use our rectangle framelits and those sorts of things, but this one didn't quite fit on that, so I just cut a strip of Whisper White paper and stamped in the Misty Moonlight. And then while we're on the topic of pieces that you need, you are also going to cut out 2 of the smallest stitched circles, put those aside, and 1 of the second smallest stitch circle. So 2 of the smallest one of the next size up, put that aside. And then you're going to grab your balmy blue glitter paper, because hopefully you have hoarded quite a bit of it. And we're cutting a bunch of snowflakes here, okay? So for the 2 snowflakes that I did on the sides, and I'm going to show you how to put those 2 together, I chose to use this very detailed snowflake as well as the smallest detail snowflake. So you'll need two of those. We might as well just layer them up and do that right now, get them out of our way. So with a dimensional, put it on the back or on the front of your little snowflake. I know this is very odd, we're working backwards. We're actually using our little snowflakes as the accent. So if you turn that over, I just want you to be able to see what I'm doing. You're going to put this behind here. And all that did was give my big snowflake a little bit of life by adding some of those snowflake spokes. It didn't take over the middle because that's where I'm going to use my clear epoxy dots. Here I'm just using the largest one on there, the clear one goes right there, and then do the same thing here. So we've got ourselves the tiniest little snowflake, put him in the middle, and add a rhinestone. You can add rhinestones, you could add whatever sort of gems you want. I just like these epoxy dots. They're very, very nice. And then while you're at it, you might as well just go ahead and put these onto their bases. So I just put quick and easy little dimensional on the small snowflake, and they go on the two little, oh, hold on, my backing doesn't want to come off. There you go. There we go. These go on the two little circles. One and two. And then for our largest snowflake that we're using as a focal point, I cut 3 snowflakes. So this is the largest solid snowflake die, and then this is the other one. You'll see they don't have any fine details in them. They're just a shape. They're actually meant to go around one of the stamps in the set. They would go around this one and this one here, but they look beautiful when you cut them out of the balmy paper as well. And then here I can show you. See, these two, solid, no details. This one you'll be tempted to use, but it actually only cuts into the paper. It doesn't cut out the shape of a snowflake, so you'd only use it as a background option. I'll show you how to do it at the event, but that would be what you're tempted to use, and then you'll be disappointed because it doesn't cut out a snowflake. This one and this one are the two that I used for these small pieces, and then this little guy down here, it's kind of a middle size snowflake. That's what I'm using for this guy. Okay, so we're gonna layer this one up as well, and that's going a little differently too. So this skinny mini little guy, he's gonna be our accent in the back now. Okay, so we're gonna put the large one opposite where that snowflake is resting. And then this detailed one is going on the top here. It doesn't matter whether or not you've cut out the middle details of the snowflake because we're putting a gem on top as well. Okay, so put that offset, and then we're putting a gem onto here in the middle. Okay, now when you're putting this piece onto the large circle, you do want to give it a little bit more balance because we're going to be moving that a lot more. So I just put mini dimensionals, quite a few of them, on the spokes of my snowflake on the back here. Okay, so they fit perfectly. You won't see them in the front, and you'll be able to have a lot of stability when you're moving this piece around. Okay, the other ones you'll see they get mounted quite firmly to the front. This one has a lot of movement in it as we go. Okay, so just set these two pieces aside for the moment. We can go ahead and worry about these two front pieces right now. So grab yourself some dimensionals. I usually like to use about 3 of them. You can also put this on flat too if you feel like you're getting too dimensionalized on your project. So just put your project down in front of you, and on the bottom little square, this is where you're going to be putting this guy right in the middle of that space, and the other one will go on there as well. Okay. All right, here we go. Like so. Okay, so what we have given ourselves is these two pop-out sections. We need to worry about now getting our sentiment inside here and our snowflake up top here. So this is where it gets a little tricky, but it's actually really not that hard. So let me show you what you need to grab. You need some scrap paper. You can either grab yourself, you can just rough cut these because you're hiding them behind our projects. You're not going to see them. Or if you want measurements, I did about a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. Okay, so you'll need 4 of those little pieces, 2 of them for attaching our sentiment at on the bottom, and 2 of them for attaching our snowflake. Okay, so what I've done now is I'm going to take these and just fold them in half. You can score them on your scoreboards, but they're very small and you'll get frustrated. So just fold them in half like so. Another idea is to just cut yourself out some, if you have the 1/2 inch circle punch, it actually works perfectly. Just cut 4 of those and fold them in half because it will work the exact same way as what I'm going to show you here. Okay, so you do need to put some adhesive on the back of this. You can either put a glue dot if that's the easiest thing for you, or you can put some double-sided tape. But again, this is something that's going to get played with a lot, so you want to make sure that it's a strong adhesive. Glue is also a really good idea. If you have the Tombow liquid glue, you can do that, but you'd have to sit here and hold these for a few minutes if you chose that option, which can get kind of frustrating. Okay, so I'm going to do this hopefully slow enough for you to see what I'm doing. So I'm putting a piece of tape on all 4 of the sides. This is another reason why I'm using tape, because I can take the backings off when I'm ready to do that job. Okay, so only take the backing off one side, and we're just going to get our card set up. Okay, so we're going to rest this not over top of the score line, but right beside it, as close to the center of this square as you can. Okay, so there's one. We're going to put our other one opposite and make sure the crocodile mouths are facing out. You do not want the crocodile mouths facing towards the spine here. You want the crocodile mouth facing out. Put that as close as you can and just leave this for a second. We're going to get the bottom part set up the exact same way, so you can, it's harder for you to see what I'm doing inside here, but I'll try to keep this open for you. Okay, so again, as close to the center of that square as you can possibly make this would be great, and not over top of the bend, but just roughly beside it. Okay, crocodile mouth facing out for this last one too. Sorry, it's really hard to let you see it. Okay, there we go. So those are lined up like so. Make sure they're pressed down nicely. And you can go ahead and take off the adhesive backing. This is where you're, if you don't like working inside of something this small, you probably want to use your tape or glue here. Okay, so I've taken my adhesives backings off and I'm ready to assemble. So my snowflake is, I'm just going to put this down. Make sure you don't put the spokes over top of this section, but it just makes it easy for you to see what I'm doing. Okay, so put this right in the center of this space and press it down. And then we're going to do the same on the inside with our sentiment here. You just slide him in like so. And then this one's going to be a little trickier to show you. Like I mentioned, I just want to make sure it's lined up in the center. Sorry, I'll show you. It's lined up in the center like this. and then I can go ahead and squish it into place. Okay, and then when you open it, you'll have to just wiggle them a little bit, but you should have something that pops out at you when you look at it. Okay, so hopefully watching me on the top part helped, because I know it was very difficult to see this section, but if you get stuck or have any questions about this, please let me know. I hope you guys had a great time watching my video today. Thank you for tuning in. And just a reminder to share some of your projects that you've been working on, if you so choose, in the comments. And I will have some draw prizes. I'm going to do all the draws on Monday for all 3 of the draws, plus my bonus draw for those of you who put up with my technical difficulties. If you're somebody who hasn't grabbed a spot at the all-day event and you're interested, I can mail your kit anywhere in Canada. So if you are in Canada, you are welcome to participate, and your project pieces can get mailed to you. So once again, thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful World Card Making Day, and I will chat with you guys later. Bye.